Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Business, and we're watching Sergeant Staggy double Citadel Nuremberg at the start of a match here on Straight. He's in his Fuso, and that's what this replay is going to be all about today. The user replays, we're going to be focused on battleships and how to use them a bit more effectively, and you'll see some common mistakes, and you're seeing one right now actually. Notice the direction he's pointing. He's pointed towards B. His teammates, there's a few of them that are clearly going to head behind the island that's just ahead of him, while he's putting himself in the position to, if he continues to go this way, to be in front of it and much closer to the enemy fire. And not only that, but have a lot more of it channeled towards him. So he's going to get a bit of tunnel vision here, and he's certainly exposing too much of his side, but he's very focused on getting this Phoenix down and hitting him. And by the way, throughout this match, he uses a lot of the ripple fire, so he's not doing full broadsides, and it actually gives you really good insight as to how different dispersion can be from turret to turret, and just how much RNG is actually involved in shooting any type of salvo as a battleship. I mean, granted, some ships are a little worse than others. The Fuso is a shotgun. Sometimes it does have that really tight, really well grouped dispersion, but it seems to have a pretty low occurrence of that. So he does have a pair of Congos to his south here. There's a couple cruisers that are just on the other side of the cap there, and now he's coming into fire from those as well. And this is exactly what I was talking about. He has his teammates behind the island who can't help him at all. They can't take any of the fire, the attention away, and they can't support him. He is a giant bullseye, and a very easy bullseye at that. I mean, take a look at that. I mean, there's a lot of teammates back there, and there's really nothing he can do about this right now. So he tries to target a Königsberg here. He does have airdrop torps coming in at him. Kind of curious that the carrier player just didn't hit him from the other side and try to force him into beaching. That seemed, to me, that would have been the way to do it, but you know, I'm not a carrier player, what do I know? So he narrowly escapes that, and of course he's still going to be under fire for a bit as more shells come in, and he's lost nearly half his health. But he gets to engage an enemy New Mexico, and check out the dispersion here from the A turret, the B turret. Look at how different that is. That's amazing. And then the C turret. Doesn't get the kill here, so he's going to go ahead and dump his final 3 turrets into this, and you'll see how much better the grouping is collectively. See, you never know what the hell you're going to get with the battleship, but he does take some more damage in return. Not a, well, it's a good trade because the guy is dead, so, you know, got the points up on the board. So now the Königsberg comes back, and he's not even paying attention to Sergeant Staggy's Fuso here, and gets citadeled right into oblivion. Now, Staggy's doing the right thing. He's pointed away. Oh shit, there's a destroyer right in front of him. Maybe could have seen this one coming, but takes a couple torps, and he's dangerously low on health. He manages to avoid the airdrop torps, as the carrier very much has it out for him right now. So, unfortunately, at this point, he doesn't know if the torps from the destroyer, if he's got another rack like just ready to go here or what, but pretty dangerous situation, and he's dumping his AP into him again. Ripple fires the front 3 and dumps the rear 3. Gets the kill, and again narrowly avoids a catastrophe, really. So as far as getting some help is concerned, take a look at the minimap. I mean, the destroyers are doing some work. They're where they should be, but the rest of his team isn't. The battleships need to be about 2 sectors or so further south, and you know, the cruisers should be pointing towards getting over to Sergeant Staggy here and covering him. You know, obviously somebody needs to cap A as well, but this is something that I was like, oh my god, I have no idea how this match is going to turn out, because I didn't look at any of the screenshots he provided before loading into the replay, and I was just expecting him to get like knocked out from somebody's salvo that comes up behind him or something. So there was that Nuremberg that he hit at the start of the video, and now he's gone. So I don't know why he came to a stop, but that's something you don't do if you're within firing range of any battleship, especially something like a Fuso that can rain down 12 shells out to 20 plus kilometers. Now here we're gonna start seeing I don't know how to describe it other than the conveyor belt of, not stupidity, just maybe that's too harsh, ineptitude, maybe a little softer. But the Farragut is the first ship that comes out of the middle there, and then there's a Congo, and this guy catches Staggy broadside. Look at this. I mean, I was like, oh my god, this makes anybody cringe. I mean, he's lucky as hell he didn't get taken out right away there. So the Congo starts to move forward, and you're going to see Staggy finally have a proper angle here. He manages a Citadel penetration on the side of the Congo, and now this guy's gonna start trying to maneuver, maybe a little too late for that, but he points his bow a little too far inward against the island with predictable results. But you know, you can see those guys on the minimap, they have a choice to continue going north or just something other than what they're doing, but single file, they have enough. There's enough time for each ship to be engaged individually and defeated individually, and then there's a new ship that comes in. It just, I've seen this on North, I've seen it, it doesn't happen on Trap too often, it just depends on which area you're at, but I mean, he's getting, you know, a fair amount of penetration damage here. He's not getting the Citadel damage that he's certainly looking to get, but you know, he's doing damage to the guy, and it's adding up very quickly. But this just kind of blows my mind. It's one of those weird things that just happens in, you know, whether it's tier 5, 6, or 10. I mean, I've seen it happen on pretty much every map now, and it's just really strange how people behave that way. So there's a Furutaka that's still pushing north. He sees his opportunity here as he goes bow forward against the Wyoming. So he's got a big advantage in overall power there. Takes a nice little hit to the nose, but manages to nuke the Furutaka. So pretty good shot there. And now he turns his full undivided attention to the Wyoming. And he's sitting at 7 kills. I mean, look at all those damn wards too. The Wyoming shoots HE, which is really the only way he's going to be able to damage the Fuso frontally like that, at least reliably. But he's in a turn, so that means he's showing that underbelly. A juicy spot right there. See the Citadel. Boom. Wow, 8 kills. So could he have played that better? Absolutely. But if you watch that again and take a look at his team's movements, they could have helped him a lot more, so he didn't have to do it. So I haven't looked at Staggy's stats, and I don't do that anyways before I go into a replay. I've never looked at somebody's stats prior to watching a replay. But, you know, he's capable of managing that, so that's something that, you know, he should try to shoot for. I guess that's a really shitty pun, but you know, it's just interesting to think about how, yeah, you could pull off an 8-kill, 150,000 damage Fuso game. So, you know, you're capable of it. Now you set that bar and, you know, go ahead and try to achieve that consistently. Or maybe that's not the right word, but you get what I mean. So we move on to North Carolina match, and this is Event Horizon. He's picking on a looks like a stock Colorado over here, and I don't know what the hell's happening there with his aim. Like, his mouse movement is really fucking weird, and he does this a few times, and it's actually pretty damn frustrating to me. It gets under my skin a bit, I'm not gonna lie, and I think he's actually using a trackball. That sounds weird, but that's the only way I could describe that. Now, he does make a mistake here. of shooting at the ass end of a ranger that is not moving. He's not accounting for the lateral dispersion and ends up with nothing. So right now that doesn't really mean all that much, but in the course of an entire match it could potentially be a win or lose situation, you know, just because you didn't get that damage when you should have. So just something to consider. And you can see the ranger now is certainly starting to get his things moving here, and there have been way too many carriers that I've seen just not moving at all at the start of a match or when the enemy planes are incoming. I know a lot of you guys have probably lost matches simply because the carrier hasn't bothered to have any sense of self-preservation whatsoever, which is really strange because, you know, they have the fighters and they don't use them to protect themselves, that sort of thing. Some really odd behavior lately with carriers, and this ranger is really no different because one, the lack of movement there, and then he parks his damn planes over the tier 8 North Carolina. I mean, this thing has monstrous AA. It's so damn capable as a AA platform like that, but well, now he doesn't have to worry about anything because he's going back to port. And what do we have here? Surprise! It's a Pensacola. It's like a tier 7 Karlsruhe for battleships. You know, the Pensacola is a hell of a ship, but it can't take damage very well. And this is really no exception. Poor guy. And he hightails it right the hell out of there, but maybe not so much. So he's a goner. And, you know, we have Event Horizon still plowing forward at full tilt here. Now, when taking a look at the minimap, you can see that clearly Event Horizon is the tip of the spear here. He's just outrunning everything on his team other than the Mitsuki that's here with him. There is an issue with the fact that the other 3 battleships have basically taken themselves out of the match by going the way they're going, but I know that there's 2 Bensons that are chasing them, but one of the battleships is division with the carrier that's on Event Horizon's team. I mean, certainly they can have some sort of communication where possibly find one of the Bensons at least and kill him. I don't know. That sounds possibly too difficult to do, of course, but whatever. Now, there is an issue here as far as Event Horizon, and he is tunnel visioning hard as fuck. I mean, look at this. There's a Congo and the Colorado that have just been waiting for something to shoot at. The Cleveland is not a threat compared to those 2 guys. And this is all his camera. This is not my work. Now it is. Those guys were waiting for him, and he didn't really react at all until he started taking damage and taking the shots. Like, he should have been turning a while ago and been bow forward this whole time, you know? Or at least better angled than he was when he first took those shots. So it's just one of those things where assessing the situation, I'm pretty damn certain that Cleveland was not the biggest threat there. So just something you gotta reevaluate the situation every few seconds and think ahead, because those guys were spotted for a long time. He had no reason to take that damage, and he was, again, he was lucky as hell. It was only, what, 3,000 damage? Now the Colorado took some torps there, and he missed his chance. Event Horizon missed his chance to knock him out with a broadside shot there, or when the Colorado was broadside, sorry. But look at this shit. That is terrible. That's just not how you play Congo. You don't back up in front of a guy and not even shoot at him. I mean, oh my god, some of the stuff I see in these replays just absolutely blows me away. Now he splits his turrets. He's got his 3rd turret firing at the Colorado, and he's switching back to the Congo in front of him with the AB turrets. And again, weird trackball thingamajig or something. Nails the shit out of the Congo again. Switches back to his 3rd turret. Gets another hit into the Colorado, and now the now the Congo's engaged him. So there's a few things that should be happening here. Right when he fires, he should hit Control X to keep his guns pointed that way, hit shift, and take a look at what these guys are doing over here, instead of waiting for his turrets to turn around and turn his ship broadside to a Colorado and a Nagato who are certainly paying attention. There's the shots. I mean, that's one of the, I don't want to say basic things, but you got to learn one of these things along the way up to tier 8, that you have to know where your opponent is as far as when they're going to shoot. And he's, again, lucky as hell that wasn't more damage, because as far as I'm aware, that was just penetrating damage. There was no citadel there at all. Very, very lucky. And especially on the broadside of North Carolina, it seems pretty easy for a lot of these ships to be able to manage a penetrating hit right on the citadel. Boom! Nails the Nagato, and this match is starting to wind down a bit. Certainly smell the blood in the water, and he's thinking about engaging the Nagato, but decides to switch over to the Colorado instead, because this guy's just sitting here broadside waiting for his guns to reload, and he's gonna line up a shot. There we go. See if he can get the Kraken. Booyah, he does, and the win. So like the first replay that we saw, Event Horizon here in the North Carolina, spectacular results, but a lot was asked of him. You know, I mean, look at the Nagato and the Colorado on his team. They're way down at the bottom. He's 3,200 base XP, which is amazing, with 217,000 damage. Just awesome results. But the fact of the matter is, he could have protected himself better. He could have looked at the mini-map to react ahead of time and anticipate. And that's really the essence of being a battleship player, is to pay attention to the mini-map and kind of put yourself in a situation that is beneficial to you before the situation happens. And destroyers, cruisers, I mean, everybody's the same way on that. That's what you need to be able to do, is to be able to read the map. And so when we look at Flambass here in his turrets, and you look at the minimap, you can tell this is an entirely different scenario than what you just saw. Same map, entirely different situation. I mean, there are, what, 6 ships going on 7 ships entering the enemy cap? I mean, this is 5.5 minutes into the game. That's amazing. And there's a huge blob of the enemy here that's, you know, just to the right of their cap. So it's a really weird situation. You know, this type of thing doesn't happen too often, where these guys are still pushing forward into the enemy blob there. So it's pretty amazing. But ends up getting his second kill there, and he's picking on the cruisers quite a bit. You know, some nice, accurate long-range fire, and yes, the Tirpitz is capable of being accurate at range. Now, he does get a little bit of a surprise here in the form of a Farragut, not even 6 kilometers away. So this guy does pay attention a fair bit, though, and not only stays in the smoke, even he is spotted, of course, but he isn't moving out, because I'm pretty certain that he's anticipating those torps from Flambass here. And it's amazing how many people still get caught off guard by these torpedoes. You know, they just come around a corner, and you know, there's a Tirpitz that's been spotted the entire time, and boom, torpedoes, and they're like, what the hell just happened? But you know, it just goes to show you, either people don't have a lot of awareness, or they don't have a lot of knowledge. Maybe a bit of both as well. So moving ahead here, there's an enemy Fuso and a hell of a lot of torps around him, so things are not looking good for him. But Flambass sends a salvo out his way, and the Farragut is on his cap, but there are a couple ships that are heading back to hopefully deal with that situation. And the Fuso takes a bit more damage from the torps, and it's going to send out his rear turrets. And yes, I know those rear turrets are not aligned properly, but that's just a replay thing. Boom. Finishes the Fuso off, and now we're going to switch it up a little bit, engage another cruiser. He's got his front turrets going towards him. He's keeping his ship moving back and forth quite a bit, finishes off the Mogami, and he's already up to 4 kills, and he's just steaming right ahead. So he's keeping his bow forward, trying to maintain an angle, and there's an enemy Amagi as well as in North Carolina over here. Now he's focusing on hitting this North Carolina, and he's got his rear turrets loaded up, and surprisingly he's not actually turning in. I expected to see that. One of the things I did notice right there, though, as he gets these shells in and gets a citadel was that he was looking around after he shot, which is, you guys have seen that in all of my videos and you see it live stream, all that. Very common thing, just because regardless if I feel safe or not, when I fire, I need to reassess the situation around me. I think it's a really good trait to have. Now, what you're about to see here, and he's splitting his turrets, doing a great job of that, sending out his torps, which, whether or not they hit, is not really part of the concern here, because he still has his port side and the ship maneuvers just well enough to be able to throw this back and forth. Now he's going to start taking a lot more damage here. He kind of mistimes that turn and takes 6,700 damage there, so possibly avoidable, possibly not. But I can tell you, this is exactly how you do not engage an enemy turrets. This guy should have been turning to his right to basically parallel that island and head back to the south and group up with his North Carolina that's further back there. Instead, he keeps going to keep all of his guns on target. And sometimes you just have to go ahead and accept the fact that you're not going to be able to shoot and you're going to have to take damage. But instead, he keeps going forward, and I mean, you know what's going to happen here. He's going to eat those torps. So, yeah. All he had to do was turn to his right. That's a damn shame for him. But immediately, Flambass switches over to the North Carolina and keeps these guns working, keeps the ship moving. Problem is, right now he doesn't know exactly where these destroyers are. So you can see him kind of look over to the left there at the island, like, oh shit, wonder what's gonna happen. I even though I'm not playing the game, even though I'm not him, I know exactly what he's doing, and he's trying to figure out what the hell he's going to be able to do here if a destroyer pops up. Now, the North Carolina is staying broadside, and I had some serious issues penetrating and doing any type of damage to an enemy North Carolina broadside on what was it, Monday's stream? Or no, sorry, Thursday's stream, where I actually had a turrets, and it was basically the same situation, and I couldn't do shit to him. And yeah, just luck of the draw, I guess. But I had some pretty rough dispersion there, but he manages to get Confederate and high caliber on this North Carolina, and this guy's paying a little bit more attention. He certainly hasn't taken a lot of spiky, huge damage numbers, but it's enough damage to make him reconsider his position. So he now notices that there's a destroyer over there on the cap, so keeping a mental note of that, he's going to go ahead and engage this North Carolina, which maybe I gave him too much credit, because now he's turning back out to get all of his guns on him. And I mean, he's really in an untenable position here because he just doesn't have anybody to help him out. Now, I was also surprised that Flambass didn't turn immediately to the right and start heading towards the cap, because again, there's no real way for this guy to dodge those torps. He's keeping his guns active, firing off at the destroyers. Boom. Gets 21,000 damage there and finishes off the enemy North Carolina. Now, this is when things start to get a little bit hairy. And remember what I said earlier about the HURTUs not being in a division but behaving like it? Yeah, that's a scary ass sight to see as a battleship. He misses his first salvo against the back HURTU, who's going to start pushing forward here in just a second. And there's only one thing he can do now, because it's too late to maneuver. He's got to just charge forward because it's the slimmest profile he can offer. The secondaries start firing. He takes one hit on the nose, 10, 11,000 damage. Certainly not something he can afford to take right now. He does hit his repair, and luckily, those two torp hits so close to killing him, but it was still within his immunity, and so there's no flooding. Now, he takes out the other HURTU that didn't bother to move forward, and now he's got to dodge his teammates' torps, and the secondaries are getting in the action, doing some decent damage here. He's going to pull his front turrets around, see if he can get another salvo off before somebody else gets the kill, and yes, but doesn't get the kill. He's still working on it, and everybody else is trying like hell to get this final kill as well. He's got his torps just about ready to go here, do the narrow spread. Meanwhile, the secondaries are going to do some work and seal the deal. And the results end up being nearly 1,000,000 credits, 7 medals, 8 kills, nearly 3,000 base XP, and almost 200,000 damage. Just like the other matches, phenomenal results. Really, really glad I got a chance to check this out. So I'll be streaming today at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for a few hours before I go into work, and then I'll be on Sunday, of course. But feel free to follow me on Twitter. I can keep you guys up to date with any of my scheduling changes and answer your questions when I'm not on stream. So hope you enjoyed the matches today, and it goes to show you can have great matches, but you could still try to improve upon them. There's areas you can always work on. Map awareness is the #1 key, though. You have to blow up that mini map and pay attention to it. Either way, I'll see you back here next time, guys. Take care. And actually, one sec, before I go, bonus clip, because yay Colorado and yay awesome dispersion from Colorado, but we're closing in on 4,000 subscribers for the YouTube channel, and we'll hold a giveaway on the stream. I just want to wait until the Texas becomes available, because I plan on giving at least one of those away, which would be pretty cool for you guys. So yeah, I'm out for real though. See you next time. Bye.